It's truly an honor to be standing before you today. And while we're all glad to be here, I do apologize that you can't listen to me at double speed. Now those of you unfamiliar with Edpuzzles know how it felt to watch them for an entire year. So bearing that in mind, and the fact that many of you may have dinner reservations, I have trimmed my remarks today down to 30 minutes. In all seriousness though, I want to thank each and every one of you who helped our class. East Greenbush faculty, staff, administrators, parents, and community members who worked together to bring this complex concept of a school year to fruition. We truly would not be here without you. I'd like to be upfront today. I see absolutely no value in belaboring all that the COVID-19 pandemic has deprived us of, and I say that for a few reasons. First and foremost, every single one of you knows just as well as I do how different this year has had to be. Secondly, it has been far more than a virus that has had an effect on our journey as a class. And third, the old axiom that says we are not defined by the challenges we face, but by how we react to them, rings particularly true to me. I find it best not to dwell on what we have endured, but on how we responded. And that applies to anyone listening, not just my fellow graduates. Over the years, as we have grown together, we have lost classmates, family members, and friends. People that were part of the wonderful community that makes our class what it is. It isn't necessary to tell you how great an impact these people had and continue to have on our school. I see it, just as I see them with us in spirit as we're about to cross this stage into the next phases of our lives. That shapes our class as much as anything this year brought, and it pulled us together, constructing a cohesion I suspect will last a lifetime. That cohesion was built from Jurassic 5Ks to kickball tournaments to social media, where I see this year's graduating class using their voices and platforms to support each other, local causes, and global movements day in and day out. That cohesion was built in thought-provoking classrooms where we were able to openly confront modern issues, not forced to hide from them. That cohesion remained virtually untouched while we were seeing our friends only through a screen. We have weathered an unprecedented number of storms, and yet the collection of students I see here today faces the future just as they have for the last 4 years, with eyes bright, chins up, and aspirations lofty enough to touch the sky. That embodies why I am proud to call myself part of the class of 2021, proud to call these graduates my friends. This brings me to the single most important message I feel moved to impart to you, my classmates. If you are to retain that enthusiasm as you embark on your voyage into the world beyond high school, find what makes you happy. Allow me to elaborate. When talking to a new friend not too long ago, our get-to-know-you conversation turned to movies. As he told me about some of his favorites, my friend said something that struck me as rather curious. Essentially, he told me that if given the chance to go back in time to any point, he would want to see his favorite classic films in theaters. I thought to myself, movies? Really? Think of all the pursuits that seem far more noble. Who could try to prevent some terrible atrocity or forewarn of a natural disaster? After some more reflective pondering, however, I realized my scratch judgment needed amending. Ignoring, of course, the myriad paradoxes that arise from this hypothetical time travel, one must accept that any of these well-intentioned actions could very well benefit no one. Maybe some kind of fate would simply bring about a different tragedy. So perhaps my friend, who led me to more profound contemplation than he could imagine, had the right idea when he told me he would go back in time to do something that would serve the sole purpose of making him happy. See, I believe that same principle applies to the present. We cannot know with certainty what will come of the decisions we're making right now, so there's no use in stressing every detail of the future. For example, I could have spent all morning practicing this speech, but I might have gotten just as tongue-tied or worse. I could have spent all morning fussing with my cap, but I would have only frustrated myself further with my long hair. So instead I spent the day out at the driving range with my dad. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. This sentiment is put into words by one of the greatest philosophers the world has ever known, Ferris Bueller. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. So I propose that you don't concern yourself with pleasing everyone or micromanaging a remote future that you can't control. Maybe some of you are wondering how they let me up here to be a bad influence, but I'm not saying don't think about what's down the road. I'm just saying it's more important to fight for yourself, your passions, and your joys here today, and to refuse to settle for anything less than the path your heart and your gut tell you to follow. My greatest hope for all of you in the class of 2021 is that you find something you love to do and that you pursue it. I'm a firm proponent that by doing this, you will be investing in yourself for the long run. With that said, congratulations, class of 2021. We did it. Go out, find your calling, and when you remember your high school days, think not of what may have been different or of what trivial things we missed. Rather, think of how you rose to the challenges thrown at you. Think of how you emerged from these trials stronger than ever before. Thank you.